The 2026 Olympic Games are not merely just around the corner, they are here, and the figure skating team event is beginning in just a few short days. So, what's going to happen at this team event? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another video, and today I'm going to go over what you can expect with the team event at the Olympic Games. If this is your first time with the channel, hello, welcome. My name is Hannah and I am a competitive adult figure skater. I've been skating for over 23 years, which is absolutely mind-boggling. How? So I like to say I know a thing or two about skating, and I'm going to be separating this video into two parts. The first part will be going over what the team event is, what countries qualified, and how this event is set up. And then the second part of my video, I will just be giving you my predictions on how it's going to go. Now, it's very important to note that while I know a lot, I cannot predict the future, so these will be my predictions based off of what's gone on in the season and what the countries have to offer. So keep in mind that these are just my predictions. I could be slightly off. It is figure skating after all. But we are going to dive right in. But before we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts. If you are interested in more skating content, I do intend to make a preview for the women's event within the next week or so be on the lookout for that. And I'm also going to be posting some of my own skating on the channel soon since I'm coming back to competition in a couple weeks. But enough about me. Let's talk about this team event. The team event in figure skating at the Winter Olympics is actually a fairly new event, with its inauguration being in 2014 at the Sochi Olympics. This is a great event that gives the skaters within figure skating an opportunity to win multiple medals at the Olympics, considering figure skating is one of the more unique sports where when there wasn't a team event, you only got one opportunity to win a medal, unlike its summer counterpart of gymnastics, where athletes that go to the Olympics as gymnasts have an opportunity to win up to 6 medals for the women event and 8 in the men? 9 in the men? Is something along those lines. I never stated I was a pro at gymnastics. And ever since this event debuted, it has been lots of fun to watch these skaters team up to try and earn medals for their country. There are 10 countries that take part in the team event, and the 10 countries are determined from a couple of different competitions. From the season prior, each skater earns a certain amount of points for their placement at the World Championships that happened the year prior. So in this case, it was determined at the 2025 World Figure Skating Championships. And then for this season, skaters also earn a certain amount of points for their placements during the Grand Prix that already happened. Now, these points are used for their country, not for them themselves, as this is the specific team event. So it really works in a way where if you come in first place, you're going to get the most points. If you come in second place, you're going to get the second amount of points. There's not really anywhere that I can find that lists the exact amount of points, but it's pretty easy to understand how to qualify. From those 2 seasons, the top 10 teams who have accrued the most amount of points and also have 3 events eligible at the Olympics will go to the team event at the Olympics. The 10 countries that qualified for the team event this year in order is Team United States, Team Japan, Team Italy, Team Canada, Team Georgia, Team France, Team Great Britain, Team South Korea, Team China, and finally Team Poland. Now, the way the team event works at the Olympics is in the short program, all 10 countries will send 1 athlete or team to compete in the short program. That means each country gets to send 1 ice dance team, 1 pair, 1 man, and 1 woman to complete the short program. The short program is set up like any other short program. Each skater will go out, they will compete their program, and they will get a score based off of how they performed. They are competing against all the other countries' skaters within their discipline. So the women are competing against the women, the men are competing against the men, etc. And based off of their final placement of that segment, they will get a certain amount of points. First place gets 10 points, second place gets 9 points, third place gets 8 points, etc. until we get down to 10th, which gets 2 points. Once all 4 disciplines are completed with their short program, the field will get cut in half, meaning whoever is in the bottom 5 will not get to send an athlete to compete in the free skate. They will be done. There will be no more chances for them. Once the elimination has happened, those top 5 countries will now send 1 athlete each in each discipline to complete the free program. Federations may switch out 2 disciplines, meaning if they send 1 athlete to do the short program, they can switch out and send a different athlete to complete the free skate. But they can only do this with 2 disciplines. You cannot do it with all 4, but you don't have to do it with any. And some of these smaller federations don't have enough athletes, and they just have to send the same ones every time because that's all they have. This can be a strategy for one of the top contenders for an individual event to still be able to contribute to the team by completing the short program, but taking some time to rest and not have to do the free skate when there's a little bit more wiggle room due to the fact that there's only 5 people competing. So the point spread has gone from 10 to 2 to 10 to 6. So it's a lot harder to make up any big point gaps or to lose out on a spot that you're in during the free skate because the margin of points is just that much smaller. Once all 4 free skate events have been completed, then there will be a team that has gained the most amount of points and they will win the gold medal, followed by the second place team, followed by the third team. It is a very exciting event and will keep you on your toes because there is not many differences in points. So usually a lot of teams are very close to each other and it can come down to just one placement. But now that we know the mechanics of how the team event works, let's talk about the favorites and who I think is going to walk away with the gold. Now, of the countries competing this year, there is only one who has been on the podium at every single team event since it started, and that is Team USA. Team USA won bronze in Sochi, bronze in Pyeongchang, and after the disqualification of Kamila Valieva, gold in Beijing. Canada has been on the podium twice with claiming silver in Sochi and gold in Pyeongchang, and Japan has been on the podium once, claiming silver in Beijing. Now, there was one other country that has been on the podium every single time there has been a team event, but they are not competing here, and that is Russia. This is for multiple reasons. First is Russia has been banned from competing by the ISU for the past 4 years, so they were not able to qualify a team at all, and they're also still technically banned. They just have 2 athletes that are skating as individual neutral athletes in the individual event. They cannot form a team. But they won gold in Sochi, silver in Pyeongchang, and bronze in Beijing. So, for 2026, the battle for gold absolutely comes down to Team USA and Team Japan. And quite honestly, there's a lot of different moving factors in this that could lead it down either path. So let's start off by talking about Team USA. Now, Team USA has 3 very strong disciplines and 1 weak discipline, with their weak discipline being pairs and their 3 strong disciplines being ice dance, men, and women, with ice dance and men being exceptionally strong. But it's only exceptionally strong if they have one particular athlete partake in both events. And this is where things get a little bit muddy, because in the team event, they do have the option to swap out. I think it is very likely that skaters who are favorites to win gold in their individual event are going to want to help out and take part in the first event, so the short program, but they are likely going to request that they do not do the free skate so that they can have time to rest. Specifically, ice dance. Now, before I get into that, I just want to give you all what the most successful team, in my opinion, would be for Team USA. In my opinion, if they laid it out in this way, they would very likely secure gold, barring disaster. And that would be Madison Chalk and Evan Bates doing both ice dance segments, Ilya Malinin doing both men's segments. Personally, I think Ellie Kim and Danny O'Shea should also do both segments in the pairs. And then for the women, I've seen a lot of people not agree with me on this one, but I think Alyssa Liu should do the short program and Amber Glenn should do the free skate. Starting with ice dance. So ice dance is one of our most dominant disciplines, with Madison Chalk and Evan Bates being very clear frontrunners for the gold medal in the individual event. The only problem is the rhythm dance in the individual event is 2 days after the end of the team event, so there's not a whole lot of time in between for them, unlike the women who have 2 weeks in between. And Chalk and Bates are, I don't say this in a mean way, but they are ancient in figure skating terms. They are both in their late 30s. So there is definitely a chance they will opt to not do one of the segments in the team event. I think if they opt to not do the free dance, that's fine because of the way that this team event is set up. Like I mentioned earlier, after the short program, 5 teams get kicked off. So in the free skate, there's a little bit more wiggle room. So if they show up in the rhythm dance, win first place in that, get 10 points for their team, and then tag out and say, hey, Amelia and Vadim, go do the free dance, you're set up for success, I think that won't really change much. Because coming in last place in the free dance means you're getting 6 points, while coming in last place in the rhythm dance means you're getting 2 points. It is a big difference. I would maybe like to see them somewhat change the rules in the future, because the way they have it set up means that there really isn't much room for change once the top 5 teams have been determined after the short program. It almost makes the free skate feel just like a victory lap more than anything else, because since it's only so small, like there's really only so much that can be done. But I would love to see Amelia and Vadim get the opportunity to compete in the team event. They are not going to be on the podium in the individual event, so this is a great opportunity for them to not only win an Olympic medal, but possibly gold. So while Maddie and Evan doing both events is going to be absolutely our best shot, I think if Amelia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik do the free dance, it won't be too bad. Will they likely still come in like 4th place? Probably. But what will be important in ice dance is that Amelia and Vadim beat the Japanese. Now, for the men, I'm very split on how I think this is going to go. Ilya must do the short program. I think that is absolutely, he must. If he does not do the short program, Team USA's gold medal is slipping through their fingers. It's unfortunate to say, but Team USA is very reliant on the dominance of Ilya Malinin and Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. On one hand, I feel like Ilya might do both events and just do like a good short program and then a watered down free skate. The only thing, and this is why the team event can get difficult, because it takes place so close to some of the events. If Ilya does the free skate in the team event, he will compete that on Sunday, and then the individual event short program is on Tuesday, literally 2 days later. So the likelihood that Ilya is going to want to do the free skate is very low. But here's the issue. If ice dance goes the way I think it goes, where Chalk and Bates decides to swap out with Amelia and Vadim, Ilya will have to swap out with someone who is likely going to come in last place. I mean this in the nicest way possible, but Andrew and Max are just not that competitive internationally. My sentimental side would say send Max to the free skate, let him win a medal at the Olympics, you know, like because there's that sentimental side that we all feel towards him. But I also want them to play fair. I would think that if Ilya taps out, they're gonna send Andrew, and Andrew, you just never know what you're gonna get. On top of that, if the ice dance and men switch, that means that pairs and women cannot switch, and that makes things more interesting as well. Absolutely, Team USA should send Ilya to both, but since he has such a big shot at the gold medal in the individual event and it's so close, I think he's gonna want to switch with someone. We'll see. I feel like he might just be like, nah, I'm good. I'm living the dream. I'm at the Olympics. But I could also see him say, no, I want to stay. I could also see Chalk and Bates just say, we'll do both segments. We have a day off because the free dance for the team event is on Saturday and the rhythm dance for the individual event is on Monday. That gives them a day off in between. But yeah, I think either way, only having one day off in between for both of them is pretty tough. For the pairs, we're just gonna have to kind of take an L for the pairs. We're gonna need to send Cam and O'Shea to both segments. And it's not that they can't be solid, it's that I don't know if they're going to be able to skate well enough to really challenge for a top placement. Likely they're gonna come in the middle of the pack in the short program and probably at the bottom in the free skate, depending on which teams qualify. And it's just gonna be an L. It's just gonna be an L for Team USA, but it's still gonna keep them ahead of Japan more than likely, simply because Japan's weakest discipline, they're probably gonna come in last place in both segments, which I'll talk about in a moment. Pairs is really about just getting through it for Team USA. That's all they can ask for is Cam and O'Shea, just try and stand up as much as you can. I think it's highly unlikely for them to swap. We've already established that ice dance and men are probably going to, but the pairs event doesn't start for a week after the end of the team event, so they have plenty of time to rest and recover before they get ready for their individual event, where they are not favorites to win a medal. So it's not like they need to make sure that they are ready to win a medal, because it's not going to happen. It's not. I'm sorry. I love them. I'm excited for Ellie and Danny's future, but right now, the way they've been skating has just not proven to me that they're going to be near a conversation about a medal in the individual event. Now, women is probably the most interesting of them all, because like I said, I think that we might end up switching dance and men, which means that we will only be able to send one woman to do both segments. And if that happens, I think we need to send Alyssa. As a stan of both Amber Glenn and Alyssa, I think we need to send Alyssa, and here's why. We are very good with the women's event right now. However, there are many other countries who are also very good at the women's event, Japan being one of them. And if they are to send Kaori Sakamoto, if Kaori goes clean, no one's beating her. So we need to send our best bet at second place. And in my opinion, that's going to be Alyssa. Now, if we can switch, I think Alyssa should do the short program and Amber should do the free skate. And here's the reason why. I've seen a lot of people say that it should be flipped, but I have a couple of worries with having Amber do the short program. Number one is she's had 2 clean short programs, but she's had 3 not clean short programs. And you could argue she technically hasn't had a clean free skate because she's at least gone in under rotation, but she's had pretty much clean free skates every time. I felt like she's just been really settled into her free skate this season because it's a repeat of last year. She looks way more just in the ice, calm, and is taking it one step at a time. On top of that, there was an interview at some point, I think it might have been at Nationals, where Amber mentioned that when she competes in team events, she's actually a lot more nervous. And this is because the team is reliant on her to skate well. When she competes in the individual event, it's only affecting her. Like, yeah, her fans will be sad if she doesn't do well and that sort of thing, but she's completely in control of her own destiny when she does the team event. Like, what she does controls the team, not just her. So she gets a lot more nervous because the team is relying on her. And then on top of that, I just worry about the pressure of the Olympics. I really want her to do the team event so that she can get one program out before the individual event, just in case she needs to do one where it's like, okay, like maybe we had a step out or an under rotation here or there. But again, ice dance and men are likely to switch out. So I think Alyssa's the better choice. Alyssa's gonna go out. She's gonna do her job. As of just like 10 minutes ago, she has stated she is not doing the triple axel at the Olympics, which doesn't surprise me. Like I said, it wasn't gonna surprise me if she tried it. It wasn't gonna surprise me if she wasn't gonna try it. But it sounds as if it's just not ready because Jackie Wong asked her and she apparently said, oh, hell no. But she's going to go out and skate clean. Her short program is absolutely stunning, so even if they have the opportunity to switch between the two of them, I think she will do very, very well and be in second place. She'll probably be on the high side of the 70s, 76, 77, maybe even a 78 if her triple lutz triple loop is called clean in the short program at the team event. And then again, her free skate is going to be high 140s probably. She would be just fine to carry the team. My sentimental heart wants both of them to be able to compete. I love them working together and I want them both to be medalists in this event, but at the same time, both of them have potential to be medalists on the individual event. They do have a week in between, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think they really care. And I think Alyssa also is just like, I'm here, I might as well skate. I don't think Isabeau's in the running to be on the team event. You never know. Maybe both Alyssa and Amber are just going to say, no, I don't want to do the team event, but we'll see. So it really does depend on who they send, but it also depends on who Japan sends. So I think that's the hardest part about the way the team event is set up. You have these countries that can't always send their best because they need to take time off to get ready for their individual event, which is just a day or two later for some. So the same problem that I'm saying the US might have, Team Japan might also have. So for Team Japan, for their best chances at Olympic gold, I believe they need to send Kaori Sakamoto to do both segments in the women's event. The men, Yuma and Shun, have been putting up very consistent scores, so they can do a switch out with Yuma and Shun, and I don't really mind which one each other does. They're going to be putting up similar scores. In pairs, they need to have Riku and Ryuichi do both events, and then in ice dance, they only have the one team, so they can only send them. Now, like the US, Japan has 3 very strong disciplines and 1 very weak one, with their strong disciplines being women, men, and pairs, and their weak one being ice dance. Now, here's where they have a disadvantage to Team USA. Their week event is not going to come higher than last place. In fact, the ice dance team that they are sending did not even qualify to compete in the individual event. They only filled a quota so that Japan could have 4 disciplines in the team event. While I do like the team from Japan, there's just not really any chance of them not coming in last place in both events, simply because ice dance is political and there's much less room for error by the top teams. So nothing crazy is going to happen in the ice dance event. So more than Team USA's pairs is a real, just they have to take the L. They need to get the points so they can at least say they got the points, but it's going to probably be a 2 and a 6 from them. But they can make up for it in the other disciplines, starting with pairs, which is the most obvious. Riku and Ryuichi are favorites to win the gold in the individual event. So if they send them to do both segments, I think that will really be helpful to them. Now, the pairs is going to be tough. Riku and Ryuichi might not win both segments in the team event. They have to be on their game for both. But first or second is likely going to happen. There, of course, is the chance that Riku and Ryuichi will not want to compete in both segments. I could see that happening. They need to be careful. The pairs event is honestly probably going to be the most difficult individual discipline at this competition. Like, honestly, there's 5 teams that can easily win the gold medal here. Riku and Ryuichi are the favorites and they will win it if they go clean, but there are plenty of other teams who have been more consistent this year that are ready to take that gold medal from their hands. So they're going to need to be exceptionally careful and make sure that they're not overworking themselves by doing both events. Now, if they send their other team to the free skate, they're actually quite good, so I think that they could still honestly beat Ellie and Danny, honestly, and that's really all they need to do in the pairs event. But at the same time, there's probably going to be a very large gap between them and Team USA in the ice dance, so they're going to want to try and close that gap by sending their best teams. For the men, it really depends. If Ilya is competing, then he's going to beat both Yuma and Shun, unless Ilya just really doesn't do well. I think they should send Yuma to do the short program and maybe Shun to do the free skate if they decide to swap out. But again, that's really risky because both of them are favorites to be on the podium in the individual event, and like I said, there's only a day in between, so there's not a whole lot of recovery time. It's just a rough schedule. It's tough because it doesn't have the same prestige as the team event in gymnastics at the Summer Olympics, and it's like you only have one person that can go rather than 2 or 3, and they don't have really that much time in between to recover from competing at the Olympics. That's a big deal. But with the men, it doesn't really matter who they send, if it's Yuma for both, if it's Shun for both, or if they switch, they're going to be getting similar scores. If Ilya is competing, they won't be able to beat him, but if Ilya isn't competing in one of them, then they'll be able to beat whoever represents Team USA and make things a little interesting. Finally, with the women, I think they should send Kaori to do both events personally. I think Mona needs to chill out. She's been looking like a ball of nerves and has been going downhill ever since the Grand Prix final. On one hand, I can see having her do a segment just to get the nerves out, but if she makes a mistake and that allows for Team USA to beat her, that could be what decides the gold medal. The women's event could genuinely be what decides the medals. Because if Kaori can go out there and do both events and she does them both well, then Alyssa and Amber have no chance of beating her. But they do have a chance of beating Monet and Ami. I think if they do need a switch, personally, I think it would be a better idea to have Kaori do the short program and Ami do the free skate. Ami has been hit or miss with that triple axel, but she's actually been really clean for the rest of the program. So I think that even if she were to miss that opening triple axel, she would still be in the low 140s, which would absolutely be first or second place in the free skate. But if they send Kaori to do the free skate as well, then we're talking high 140s, and that's definitely gonna be first place. Alyssa could challenge a clean Kaori. I guess she technically has beaten a clean Kaori once before at Worlds, but I do think that the fact that was in the US did help. But it's really gonna come down to the women, and it's just so hard to make a prediction because I don't know who's going. I don't know who these federations are sending, since they're gonna wait until a day before. I think they've probably submitted it just doesn't get revealed. But I do think Team USA's got this. I think that even if they swap out, I think Team USA is just strong enough that they will be able to manage, but it will be very close. But again, that truly depends on who does compete, who doesn't compete, and if people are like shaky from the pressure of the Olympics. Ilya has never gone to the Olympics before. Historically, 8 years ago, Nathan went into the Olympics as Team USA's savior. Everyone was like, he's gonna win. And then they had him do both segments at the team event and it wasn't good. And then he did the short program in the men's event and he was in 17th place. The only difference here is that Ilya has a lot more experience than Nathan had. I felt like the pressure that people were putting on Nathan 8 years ago was somewhat unwarranted because he came in like 5th at Worlds the year before, something like that. Ilya has, plenty of reputation to be okay with doing it, so we'll see. Okay, let's talk about the battle for bronze. I'm not going to go into quite as much detail, but I do think it is between Georgia and Italy. Both of these teams are pretty strong across the board, but not strong enough to overtake Japan or the US unless something absolutely crazy happens, which we don't want to see that. We don't want to see people just fall apart at the Olympics. We want to see great skates all around. Team Georgia already has their team because they only have one entrant per discipline. So Nika Agadze will be taking care of the men, Anastasia Gubanova will be taking care of the women, Anastasia Metelkina and Luka Berulava will be doing the pairs, and then Diana Davis and Gleb Smolkin will be taking on the ice dance. And quite honestly, pairs, they might win the segment. Women, Anastasia is pretty solid. However, she also is up against some really tough competitors, and she also is coming off a not great skate at the Europeans, so we'll see how that messes with her brain. Nika is coming off of a gold medal at Europeans, so we'll see. And in ice dance, Diana and Gleb will probably be near the bottom. For Italy, we know the women in the ice dance. For women, it is Lara Naki-Gutman, and that's because she's the only Italian woman at the Olympics. And for ice dance, Charline Guinard and Marco Fabri will be doing both events because they're the only Italian ice dance team. So for the men and the pairs, there are multiple teams going to the Olympics, so it could go either way if they want to switch them out. In ice dance, Italy definitely has the leg up. Pairs could go either way. Sarah Conti and Niccolò Macci, last I heard, were injured, so I have no idea what to expect from them. Lara Naki-Gutman just beat Anastasia Gubanova at Europeans, and I think she could do it again here. And then for men, it depends if they send Daniel Grassel. It really depends on how he looks that day because he's either pretty great or an absolute mess. I'm gonna have to give my prediction to Italy just because they do have the fact that it is a home Olympics behind them. I think that that'll give them the little push of the audience to be able to take home the bronze, and I personally am cheering for them over Georgia. So that means Georgia will get 4th, and I think the 5th place finishers will be Canada. I think they just want to try and do their best here, and last I heard, Deanna and Max are not doing the pairs event because she's injured, so that's not good for them either. They're just going to go out, they're going to do their best, and they could definitely challenge for 4th if Georgia makes mistakes because they do have pretty strong-ish contenders across the board. Even in women, Madeline Schizis could have the skate of her life and do well. Who knows? But there are my final predictions. I have USA in 1st place, Japan in a very close 2nd, and Italy taking home the bronze. I'm very excited to see how this shakes out. I'm very excited to see who does what event. I believe they only have to decide who does the short program before the short program, and they can decide to switch out once the short programs are done. But there is only 1 hour in between the men's short program and the free dance for the team event, so they don't have like a ton of time. And I think the ice dance, they're gonna have to obviously already decide who's doing the 2nd segment because they're gonna have to already be at the rink and getting ready to go when the men are still going. So it really comes down to who skates what segment and how well they can do it, which is what it always is about, but it is fun to talk about what can happen. But that is going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Leave your predictions on who you think is going to win the gold, silver, and bronze in the team event down below. And if you have any questions for me, I will be happy to answer them for you. But thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left.